Yes, breathe.
Yes, beautiful. Welcome to the Breathing Edge podcast. We have a very exciting guest on our show today, and Mr. Ben Carvosso. Did I say that correctly? I hope so.
Doctor.
Doctor.
You call me doctor.
Dr. Ben Carvosso. I always make that mistake. Anyway, so one of the main reasons why we got Dr. Ben Carvosso onto our show today is number one, just extremely energetic, absolutely amazing personality, and a great person to just have chats with, and very knowledgeable when it comes to human behavior and physical health and well-being. And it makes sense. I mean, I'm having a look at where he's come from. His main focus is around taking charge, stop your busy work, and start doing your life's work. And I think that's a lot of the times we get so busy, we kind of forget about that sort of stuff. But you have been studying basically human performance in life and work since the age of 17. And then around 23, you went into your entrepreneurial journey, and then going on to creating one of Australia's biggest allied healthcare practices. So I would love to talk to you about your journey from kind of like from woe to go, a little bit of why you got started and why you do what you love to do. What were the hiccups that kind of got in the way, and what did you?
That's a lot of questions.
I know. And then kind of like go into, because this is what I want to know, right? And then like how is it that you're able to still get up every single day and be energized as a leader and still doing what you're doing and taking it to the next level? So Ben, let's start off.
Where are you now?
Check it off for that. First of all, can I say I love how you read the subtitle of my book with your, American accent.
Thanks.
That sounds heaps better.
And speaking of book, yes, Life CEO, which we will talk about in a moment.
I think that's read that subtitle just one more time.
Take charge and start doing your life's work, not your busy work.
Yeah. Heaps better. So my journey, you talked about starting at 17. So I was interested, but Mum and Dad took me to visit their chiropractor. I had some sore knees, and Max was an inspirational guy. He was just one of those attractive, kind of energetic blokes. And Mum and Dad have been seeing him for years. Anyway, I went in and saw Max. He didn't even look at my knees. He just adjusted my neck. And I can remember the power in the adjustment. And I remember getting back in the car and driving home in the car. We lived about 20 minutes away. The world was brighter. It was clearer. There was more colour. I remember saying to Mum and Dad, can you see how the world's more colourful? And they go, what are you talking about? And about an hour or so later, after we got home, I came out to the kitchen and Mum and Dad were baking bread. And I remember saying to them, I'm going to become a chiropractor. This is what I want to do. So I spent the next year and a half, hanging out with Max and, visiting him in his house and having conversations. And the guy was just really inspirational. And so the rest is history. I got into chiropractic and became a chiropractor. But during chiropractic college, I gave myself the role of seminar liaison coordinator. And I would coordinate between external seminar, workshop, conference providers and the students in exchange for free tickets. So I spent a heap of time while I was at university, not just studying chiro, but studying a heap of other stuff, practice management, business development, mindset stuff, NLP, public speaking, a whole range of different things. And so, it was throughout that 5 years, I also developed a lot of, not just interest, but skills and insight around how the mind works. And so I graduated, and in fact, 6 weeks before I graduated, I bought my first chiropractic centre. Practiced maybe not quite with a license for a few weeks, not sure. And so that was like, just a great journey and a transition. And my wife and I shifted up to the country and we built this chiropractic centre. It was phenomenal. And then I had this break, literally. I fell out of a palm tree.
So who was the other guy that fell out? Was it Keith Richards or
what? Keith Richards. Yeah, I hear that all the time. Every time I mention it, right? One of those amazing palms, that comes off the beach and it's over the water, and it's just, and the sun was setting over here. I was over here, and I thought, what a great opportunity for me sit at the end of the palm tree. Michelle will take a photo. It'll be just perfect, right? That'll be on my Facebook profile. Actually, this was before Facebook, I think. So I say, Darl, I'm going to climb to the end of the palm tree, take a photo. She goes, don't be stupid, you're going to hurt yourself. I said, no, I'll be right. So anyway, so I climbed to the end of this palm. Palms are quite flexible. I fell out of the palm tree, dropped about 3 meters into what I thought was water and sand, but unfortunately it was water and a tiny bit of sand and a huge rock.
Wow.
So my right foot exploded into hundreds of pieces and flew home. There's a whole story to be told there. We don't have the time.
All in the book. It's in the book. I read this. I
Flew
said,
home and
a palm tree, Angie.
and for me at the time, I thought, great, I'm going to take a 3-month break. This will be great. I'll read some books. I'll wander around in my dressing gown like Hugh Hefner. It'll be great. And it was great. Everything was going to plan. Took the cast off and couldn't walk. That wasn't the plan. And this is a classic example of where, life expectations don't meet your life. They're not the same. How you thought it was going to turn out doesn't match. And so whenever that happens, of course, we tend to get a little unhappy. And I got quite unhappy as the months progressed. Towards the end of that year, became extremely unhappy to the point of thinking about driving my car into a tree. And so, and it was someone that tapped me on the shoulder and said, man, this doesn't have to be the way. And I'm building a radiology company, building a medical center. Do you want to build a radiology practice? I went, cool. That'd be amazing. And within a week to 2 weeks, I'd shifted out of that sad state and into a state of being passionate, excitement, and waking up early again and, being engaged and back doing it. And I know one of the questions that you'd sent through to me, where do you get your energy from? And I think energy is just when you're connected with what truly inspires you. And for me, creation inspires me. Whenever I'm creating, I'm energized. The moment I stop doing that, I feel like my energy starts to drop. So that's kind of a story of where I was. I eventually sold that radiology company that I built up over 7 years. And just after I sold it, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, can you give us some advice about opening up a radiology practice? And my beautiful wife has always said to me, stop giving your advice for free. Stop doing it for free, right? And so this guy called me and I said, mate, look, we probably just need a couple of hours, next week. He said, great. I said, I'm $150 an hour. He goes, great, I'll see you Monday. I go, race straight inside. Michelle, guess what? I'm getting paid for advice. And then literally that weekend, I spent the weekend Googling, what is coaching? What is this thing, right? And then that's basically what launched my coaching career now for the last 7 years of coaching successful business owners in actually doing their life's work. To stop doing the should, that their wife told them to do, or their church, or their boss, or their mate told them to do, but actually do what they really, really love. And do it well. So they're not busy anymore, but they're truly productive and they're truly profitable. Not just in financial terms, because often the clients I coach do have full bank accounts, but they're broke in their relationship. They're broke in their health. They're broke in their relationship with their kids. So I help, yes, become maybe more financially profitable, but more profitable in those other aspects of their life.
Well, that brings up another question for me. Is going from now, I hope you don't mind me saying, you're in your early 50s, which I was gobsmacked because I could have sworn you were like barely into your 40s. Yeah. And so obviously, number one, you're doing something right there, which maybe if we've got...
This is being recorded, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going out public.
She hates hearing that.
Sorry. Now, I say that for a reason because you started your entrepreneurial journey in your 20s. Now so about 30 years later, and you definitely you've explained where you get your energy from and what drives you. What have you seen, not only in your own personal life, but in working with your clients? What are those things that seem to drain people the most? Or drain yourself, or what are kind of like the things that you've seen over your career?
Yeah, I think it really is when people find themselves doing their busy work. They get up and they got this list of stuff to do, and they run around doing it. And you look at them and they're busy, but at the end of the day, they're unfulfilled. Their days are full, but they're not fulfilled. And so, and they kind of get through the day, but the next morning they wake up and go, oh, I just can't do another day like yesterday. I couldn't face that, like I got all the stuff done, but I still feel empty. I feel empty the day, the week, the month, or the year. And, it doesn't take long for that to happen. Often we start something, someone says, hey, you should lose some weight, or you should maybe, start exercising. And we go, yeah, okay. And we start to do it. And in the beginning, it kind of seems okay. And then we realize it's not what we really want to do. We're still doing the thing, and it's just not us. Or we're doing something that's not our genius. It's not what we're really great at. And so it is hard work. When you do what's connected with your purpose, when you do what inspires you, it's not always easy, but there's an ease to it.
How do you create that shift within people? Because I know quite often, that shifting and changing habits of doing the busy work to life's work. Like, what is your, in your experience, has been a couple of tools that people can use that create that shift from busy work to life work?
Yeah. If they're in busy, it's because they're doing not what their real passion and what their real purpose is, right? So first of all, getting them to realize what is their purpose, what am I here for? What really is important to me? What are my core values? What really do I want my life to be about? And then, but here's the catch. So often they don't have clarity around that. So that's a big enough job to get them clarity around that. But the biggest challenge I often face is getting them to let go of what they're doing to then do what they really want to do. What they're doing is often been providing something, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. Yeah, they're getting something out of doing the thing, otherwise they wouldn't do it. They're getting recognition from their partner or their boss or their parents, or there's some level of benefit from what they're currently doing, even though it's not connected with higher purpose. And getting them to let go of that. The example I give is, and it's always tough. It's like I said, there's an ease when you're in your flow and purpose, but it's not always easy. The example I give is, I occasionally do some triathlons. Have you guys ever done a triathlon?
I've done a marathon, but not a triathlon.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, right? All the guys line up on the beach, usually midlife crisis guys, right? And you're all in their weddies, and the starter gun goes, and they all dive in, right? And it's messy in the beginning. Everyone's punching and kicking, and it's kind of crazy in the beginning, as is often starting anything, right? And then you start getting in your rhythm. You start getting your breath, and you're in the flow, and you're swimming out, and then all of a sudden you look up, and there's the buoy that you've got to take the turn around. And you just kind of wish you could just keep going straight ahead. Like, it just, because you're in your rhythm, right? But you can't. You've got to if you're going to stay on course, if you're going to stay on track with the plan, you've got to take the turn. And so you go to take the turn, and everyone else goes to take the turn, and it gets messy again. You get kicked and punched again, and your mask gets pulled off, and you lose your rhythm, and you lose your breath, and you're kind of trying to take the turn, and you finally get around the turn, and then you're off again. What a lot of people do is they don't want to take the turn. They just want to keep going in the direction that's easy. But if you're going to stay on purpose, if you're going to stay on track, at times you've got to take the turn and recognize it's going to be uncomfortable. So there's two challenges. One is they don't know what the map is. They don't know really where they do want to go. And then secondly, if they did know that, they just still want to keep going straight ahead. Because it's messy when you take the turn.
But that's a brilliant analogy, because how far do people go off track because they don't want to take the turn?
Yeah. And you can't go this way and go this way. So they're often, they want to hang on to this and they want to do that, and you can't do both. You got to let go of this. You got to let go of that relationship, that wife, that husband, that job, that eating habit. You got to let go of that. We often have this, we say it's okay to quit smoking, but we say it's not okay to quit your relationship, or it's not okay to quit the job, but sometimes we just got to quit. We've got to stop doing it. We saw the latest Tony Abbott thing, when he did his speech, I'd rather be a loser than a quitter. I don't think so, Tone. I think at times we just need to quit.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. Like letting go of the banana, that analogy where sometimes you just don't want to let go, but when you let go, you're freed up.
Yeah.
Sensational. So what are some of the things that you do for yourself? So obviously you spend a lot of time giving a lot of energy to clients or setting up your practice and setting up your business and these sorts of things. And I know I've seen, you out on hikes and doing adventures and these sorts of things. What would you say are some of the key things that you do for yourself that energizes you
and move the needle the most?
Move the needle the most for you? What are some of those habits or actions that you take for yourself?
Yeah, I think, again, I'm going to say it again, but when you're in your inspired space, you finish energized. So I will finish this interview with you like probably 200, maybe 300% up where I was an hour before.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was in a good place before, but I was doing a little bit of logistics, a little bit of website-y stuff, checking emails, and it was okay, right? But I'll finish this more energized, not less.
Mm-hmm.
I know that one.
Day of coaching, 6, 7, 8 clients. I'll finish that day, like last night, I finished at 7:15, and I came home more energized than I started the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you're in your zone, it feeds you. I love what Brendan Burchard says. The power plant doesn't have energy; it generates it.
Mm-hmm.
We generate our energy, and particularly when we're on purpose, we're in our inspired space. So for me, finding things that excite me, that inspire me, for me, my energy comes from adventure. It comes from creativity. And just when I'm in that space, I just feel it ramp up. And it has a momentum to it too, I think. I don't know, what you found when you've interviewed other guests, but I was thinking about it just before. It's like, those balls, and you let it go and it goes tunk, and the other one goes tunk.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems it doesn't keep going.
Oh, the Newton balls, yes.
Yeah, it just keeps going, right?
Transfer of energy.
Do those things ever stop?
I think they do. I think they do after a while.
I feel like energy, when you're in your spot, it just keeps feeding it. It's almost like it keeps feeding back in so you can use it, and so it feeds back in and so you can use it. It's like self-sustaining.
Self-generated energy. Yeah, I think the point with purpose there, Ben, I think a lot of people get confused about what is purpose. We have chats with people a lot of the time, and they'll think that they need to do this huge big thing beyond themselves, like they need to they need to eradicate abuse out of the world, or they need, and it's really, really big and lofty, but oftentimes they haven't even worked out their own problems. Like, doing the work on your own problems. I mean, I personally believe that part of your purpose is just to shine a light on the stuff that's going on inside you, because the best you becomes the best for everybody, because then you get that self-generated energy that is infectious when you're around people, and you can feel it when someone walks into the room that's got that, the presence is there. It comes in, so you feel it. So I think that it's important, like what you said with purpose, and to really define purpose for someone. So, I think that's a really big part of the work that we all do.
Oh, that's gold. That is 100% spot on. That, we've got to look after self first. We've got to get self right. You see people that they're morbidly obese, and they're taking care of the whales. Take care of home first, right? Get your home in it. Get your house in order first before you worry about taking care of the local community. They're out taking care of the community, and their house is a mess. Got to look after self. I think that's key.
Do you notice, though, being here in Australia, especially because, being married to Angie and of course, seeing the American culture where there are differences. Do you think here in Australia that whole, we talk to people often about taking care of themselves first. We've got this saying, self and others first. Because we say to people, you can and you will have more energy to do that. Do you find even dealing with the high-level CEOs and the people that you coach, that people do have this Australian sort of like, they feel shameful if anyone talks about taking care of themselves first?
Oh yeah, words are incredibly powerful, right? And I talk about being selfish. looking after self, right? And the moment you mention that, almost like 98% of clients, when I say I want you to be a bit more selfish, they go, oh, you can see this instant reaction.
Yeah.
And I talk about, that if you are not selfish, you will either have regret, if you're not, or if we're selfish, then we have this thing around guilt. Right? It seems like there's only these two sides of the coin, whenever we talk about selfishness. I say you could be selfish and neither have regret nor guilt. Right? Just take care of self for others. Get yourself right for others. And you're right. There is a culture in Australia of, I think it's almost linked a little bit with that tall poppy. Can't stand out, can't take care of self. I also love what you said before, Shane, around that you don't have to go and save the world. I talk about having an extraordinary, ordinary life. Be an extraordinary dad and raise 3 kids, and be extraordinary at being a coach, and be extraordinary as far as how you look after your house and your garden, and but that's it, right? Imagine just that.
Yeah,
that'd be cool, right?
I love that.
We do talk about that. We've I've often said that since doing the work that we've been doing and being around all the amazing people that we've been around, that Angie and I have both developed this thing about having perfect enjoyment. Just sitting out in the backyard and watching the girls play, or sitting out in the backyard and admiring the plants, or going and seeing a sunrise or a sunset. And I think that this concept of awe, of being in awe of these simple, like you said, ordinary things, allows you to actually feel happiness, and you can actually feel fulfilled in just doing these simple everyday things, because you're open. We always say you open up your bandwidth first, because if your head's full, you're going to have difficulty in being able to have that kind of perfect enjoyment. And it's probably one of the only times as well that I'll use the word perfect, because again, that's another one of those kind of pineapple trigger words for a lot of people, perfection, because that does get in the way. But I think that that's a simple way, that I've noticed that I now actually really enjoy these simple things.
Yeah. And that's perfect if that's in alignment with your purpose, right? But like we pick up books like, and hear about guys like this guy. Where else do I see that on book? This guy, or 2 examples. We see these guys.
Yep, Tony Robbins,
Elon Musk.
Yep.
We go, I got to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be truly successful and truly happy. Then I need to somehow be like that.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm guilty, by the way.
People sometimes have to be careful what they wish for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we strive for that. And we go to seminars, and, I just got an email through to go and see Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk. Right? Wait, those guys are just totally not me. It's hustle, it's crush, kill, destroy. I remember. Do you know Grant Cardone?
I've heard of him, but I don't know him as well as Gary Vaynerchuk.
Just to watch, right? But the guy, he's just hardcore hustle. And I remember this one video, and it was all sort of in black and white that he did a post on. He goes, "Oh, look, I've been about the cars and the big house, but I've realised, it's just not what's really important in life. What's really important is, he's only joking! Get out there and sell!"
You bring up a really important point, Ben, because I think that a lot lately, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts, with really high profile people, and they'll have someone like Elon Musk on, and people are starting to realize that a lifestyle like that, as much as everyone romances with it, comes at a great cost. It comes at the cost of these guys not really having longevity in their life, and maybe behind all the money and behind everything is someone who is really suffering and is quite sad and probably, dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression as well. So, you know, I think it's important for people to realize that just because in the public image they're seen as these, you know, super, you know, gods of people, not even human, that is not necessarily a happy existence.
Well, that's why. Yeah,
that's his purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
And he just wakes up every day and he just loves it, and that's what brings him joy. Perfect, but it's not everybody's. I remember doing a workshop. It was about 3 weeks ago, and one of the participants, you know, he put his hand up and he said, you know, we're talking about something or other, and he said, mate, everybody wants to be a CEO. I went, oh, well, everyone else in the room, put your hands up if you want to be a CEO. And no one put their hand up, right? Not everyone wants to be a CEO.
Yeah.
So if you do, though, man, go for it. That's what.
Yeah. Well, that's what.
But one thing you do need to do is be
be a life.
You need to be the CEO of your life. You do. I agree with that one.
So just for those that are able to watch the video, so this is Dr. Ben Carvosso's book, Life CEO. What I love about what you're doing right now is you're carrying people's purpose in through to profit. So that way they're taking their ability to be connected with who they are and their true essence and still being able to make some money out of it and making sure the house is in order and money's in order. And that's something that people don't do a lot of. They think that you can have one or the other, or that or limited beliefs that you have, that it's a struggle or difficult to do both. Yeah. And you know, with a lot of people that we've spoken to, it's like, well, you know, you can't do both, like what you just said. And I love how you're starting to bring it together that you can, especially when you create by connecting with your purpose and by doing what's inspirational for you, because that also creates everyone around you to feel the same as well. Yeah.
And it's around, you know, people have, there's an image in my book, you know, of the image that I have in my head is, I don't know what it was, right? But it's one of those old movies, maybe it was black and white, that's now in colour, where they've got the guy on the ground and they've got horses attached to his arms. Like he's in big trouble, right? And then they whip the horse. There it is, right? And they whip the horses. That's it. That's it. And he's pulled in all directions, right? And pulled apart. That's what going through their life, and their health is going this way, and their money's going this way, and their relationship's going this way. They feel pulled, right? I say, let's not do that. Let's swing them all around so they're pointing in the same direction. So when you work on your health, you make more money. When you're making more money, your relationship's better. When your relationship's better, you're a better dad. And when you're a better dad, you know, your career's better. When your career's better, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Let's bring them into alignment. So when you do one, it feeds the other. Yeah. You're not pulled in different directions. And that key behind that is making sure that that you're clear on your purpose and that you align those different missions, those different roles within your life. It's like, and that's why it was Life CEO, because the concept for me was just like a company is run, right? They have a general purpose, and then within that company, there's different departments, and each of those departments is given its own mission. Like the HR department's mission is different to the marketing department, which is different to the sales department, which is different to the product development department. Different missions, but all heading in the same direction. So how can we do that for our money and our health and our relationships? There are different missions, but how can we get them heading in the same direction? That's when there's an ease. That's when you don't feel pulled.
That's sensational. What are you working on right now? Like, so if someone, I mean, I know that someone is going to be listening to this and going, that sounds like it's my jam. I want to do more of that. Or, you know, that's something that I feel like I've been putting myself on the back burner, my health on the back burner, and I feel absolutely pulled in all directions. Like, what's the first thing that somebody does to start? I mean, you mentioned connecting with purpose and being inspirational, but what is something that they can do kind of like in the moment to help them realize that they're going in all different directions, and let's stay focused on being aligned and going in the right direction?
You went in two different directions on that question.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll come back to what are you working on now, but give us some practical advice right now.
There you go.
Yes.
I want you to answer all right now. Okay, so I know something practical first.
So which one am I answering?
So what's something practical that somebody can do when they catch themselves going in all different directions and they need to come back and focus on what's their purpose and staying, what's something that they can do, something tangible or an action that they can take?
Yeah, cool. So I talk about being in joy. Joy is when you're doing something that makes you nervous and excited. Yeah. A lot of people are just doing excitement, which is novelty. Going to the movies, you sit there, it's exciting, but you come out and it's like, well, you know, whatever. Like life's no different. You go and drive your car quick, it's exciting. But at the end of, you know, it's nothing, right? So you have too much to drink, it's exciting, but the next morning it's like, nothing, or worse. Then there's people that just are doing nervous, right? And they just walk around nervous the whole time, just totally in fear, totally with anxiety, stressed all the time. Joy is when you do the both, when both come together, when your heart races and you're smiling at the same time. So if you're not experiencing joy, if you're just doing busy, then most likely you're only doing excitement or you're only doing nervousness. So the question is, how could we bring them both together? How could you do something that makes you a little nervous and a little excited? The first kiss with the girl, the applying for that job, sending that email that might make a difference, putting a deposit down on a house. You know, it makes you nervous, but makes you excited about the potential. So I would have them go and look back and say, when have you last experienced joy? Now, I ask that of clients, and many start, the first thing they say is, I can't remember. I can't remember the last time I had that nervousness and excitement. And so I get them to experience it. I say something like, you know, when was the last time you were on a roller coaster, right? That's often when we experience a bit of nervousness and excitement. Like we're nervous about getting on, but we're really excited, you know? And they get to feel that feeling of smiling and heart racing at the same time. So when did you last feel that? So I have my clients, and I'd have your clients do the same thing. Go back and say, well, when did I last experience joy? What was going on for me when that happened? What was going on in my life? What was I doing? You know, what values were being triggered around that moment? For me, it would be, you know, wow, I was creating my radiology practice. That's, you know, I could remember that time, you know, when I went, yes, I'm going to do it. And I sat there and designed the logo, and I thought about the room layouts and how that was going to look, and the systems and the strategies, and went looking for the new X-ray equipment. And, you know, that was when I last felt joy. What was going on then? I was creating some systems. I was creating design. That's when I'm on purpose. And that's how I'd help them find it.
And that's a perfect liaison into the next part. What are you creating now?
What are you working on now, Ben?
What am I working on right now?
Yeah.
So, well, I'm deciding to niche my practice. Right. So I haven't spoken about this public before, but there is a good chance, maybe, likely, possibly, I think, I'm going to niche my coaching practice into healthcare. So specifically into coaching successful healthcare business owners to not just improve their profits in their business, but make sure they look after themselves as well and are profitable in their relationship at home and in their relationship with their kids and relationship with their teams and staff. So coaching that specifically into that niche. It's a niche I love. I talk about it. So for me, what am I doing right now? I'm working through that process of how that's going to look for me going into 2020.
And I think that's so important, Ben, because we've often spoken to people that are in practices that are in the healing arts. You know, they're either in chiropractic or they're doctors or they're in healing, right? And I've often said that, you know, I've had experiences where when I walked in and got on the table, I felt like the doctor got the healing and I didn't, right? Because their energy was fragmented. Their energy wasn't in with giving the healing. And it's, you know, we all know that people go through things in life, but I think that if you're conscious as a practice manager, as a doctor, as a healer, that you're conscious that you've got to keep your energy up so that, you know, you're practicing your magic. You're practicing transferring that to your patients and to your clients above all else, because that's what's going to have that steady flow. That's what's going to improve your business and ultimately what's going to put bread on the table for you as well.
Yeah.
And you guys do that beautifully too, by the way. I've done that breathing and stretch work that I did with you that morning, and you just brought an amazing energy, whatever it was, 6 o'clock in the morning, and and moved the group, right? So it is so important, and it's so important that we bring that for our patients, and our clients. But it's also important that we're able to then take a different version of that home to our wife and home to our children, and to our mates that we might catch up with on the weekend. That we're not, that we don't use all our energy when we're in the office, and then on the weekend we just bitch and moan and grumble and are tired. Yeah, that we kind of work Monday to Friday, and then we kind of recover every weekend. So I want to help practitioners not just become profitable in their business, but profitable in the rest of their life.
Yeah. And I have no doubt that you are the specialist to do that for these people, not only from a position of relatability because you've been there, but also a position of connection and empathy and being able to step-by-step process people through that sort of a thing. So it's exciting, whichever way it goes, it's very exciting to be able to watch your journey and see what kind of an impact you're going to be creating on the people around you.
And what gets you out of bed in the morning, Ben? Why do you do all this?
What juices you?
Yeah.
Well, all this. all the things we talked about is what like many people that I think that are on purpose. You wake up before the alarm clock, right? My alarm clock's set for 5 or 5:30, depending on the day of the week. It's either 5 or 5:30, and I'm always awake before it. Like, I'm just awake, and I'm laying there going, when's that alarm going to go off? Because I can't get up too early. I just wake. I just wake inspired.
Yeah.
And because of all of this, I wake inspired around my kids and my wife, and I wake inspired about the practice and just the whole lot, right? I woke inspired about chatting with you guys today. Like, seriously, one of my first thoughts in the morning was, the conversation we're going to have today. I was so looking forward to that. That's what it is.
And that's a true sign of an energized leader, when you can get yourself to a place that you can wake inspired.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much. How can people find you? So, somebody wants to work with you or contact you somehow or create something with you. How can they get in touch with you?
Okay. So easy is, if you can't remember my name, is just go lifeceo. Lifeceo.com will take you to my book page within my drbencarvosso.com page. And from there, they can kind of have a browse. They can get the first 40 pages, the chunk, right, the gist, the outline of everything that I coach on for free. There's some great videos I've got online there. There's a great scorecard. It's a Life CEO scorecard. So I was looking at how well are you doing at the 5 components that make up being a Life CEO. So you can get a score on that. And it's really, I've got to be honest, many of the scores suck that come through, right? And that's okay. But the purpose of taking the scorecard is really, it's in the question that you get asked that you get the insight to, I'm not doing that. Maybe I'm not doing that. So I'm going to score myself 0 out of 10, but that's okay because you've got the insight of where the missing pieces are. Yeah.
You get the velvet sledgehammer.
It's kind of like that scorecard. So there's a heap of resources on there. And if they're interested in coaching, one of the great things they can do is start, I really encourage, if any of your listeners want to do some work with me, absorb some of my stuff first, right? Have a look and just check in that the kind of person I am is the kind of coach that you might want. Yes. And the next step for them then is to organise what we call a discover coaching call. We'll have a great chat, see where they're at, see where I'm at, and see whether we're a match and whether there's anything we need to have a conversation around beyond that.
No, cool. Brilliant. I would agree. Now, I just want to share some of my lessons and learnings from this conversation. So I have some takeaways that I want to share just as a wrap up because I think it's worthy of it. So
take notes. I love taking notes.
She takes notes. I don't.
A short pencil is better than a long memory.
I have many short pencils actually. So one of the things that hit me was being extraordinary about being ordinary.
Yeah.
I think that is brilliant. That it's extraordinary to be average. One is around focus on what connects you and what inspires you. Focusing on what's important and really around joy, where finding a situation in life where you experience that joy and excitement at the same time, knowing that you're going to be going to the next level. And that analogy that you gave about the triathlete getting into rhythm, and about using the rhythm and then taking the turn and getting back into rhythm, and just knowing that it's all part of the process. I think it's a very valuable part in life when we're taking turns and things are chaotic, that it's not always going to be that way, that you can get back into the rhythm. So for me, that was great.
We need another whole podcast for you to go through all your best things.
I know. Well, it was such a good one. That was such a good, and Life CEO. That is just that's premium to me, because it's about being the CEO in your own life and leading your own life in such a way and from what you're talking about, purpose and joy and passion and inspiration. And I think that, if we can all learn to focus on those sorts of things, it'll create a huge shift in how we do life and how we have a perspective of life. So thank you very much for sharing your genius with us today on the Energized Leader podcast. And I look forward to chatting with you more and connecting with you more and learning deeper into more about who you are and what you do.
And I think the best thing for me is that it's always great to have a conversation where you leave more energized than feeling drained from the conversation. And I think that that's important. It's something that I always are really conscious of when I go into a conversation with someone. I always want to leave them feeling more energized than coming in and feeling drained from having a conversation. So we really appreciate your energy and the conversation today.
Yeah, thanks guys. It was an absolute pleasure. As I said, I was only 15 minutes into it when I said, man, I'm feeling like 200% better. So thank you so much. It's just absolute pleasure. You guys are doing some incredible work, and it's important what you guys are doing. People need to get more of it. I know your seminar's coming up soon, so I know hopefully a few of my clients have already registered. So yeah.
Yes, they have. Thank you, and we'll put your contact details in the show notes as well.
Great,
so
guys.
It's easy for people. So thank you very much for being a true inspired leader and for making an impact on those around you.
Good on you. Cheers.
Thank you.